Hey, good evening, everybody. Welcome to Football United TV. This is the Premier League weekend show, and now it's time for that famous intro. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to tonight's show. God, I tell you what, I am glad the Premier League is back. None of this international stuff. I used to like the international stuff, but now it does my flipping head in. Bill, how you doing, mate?
Yeah, man, I'm all good. If I'm honest, I'm a bit disappointed after this weekend.
Yeah.
We'll get into that in the show. I agree on your point. I do enjoy international, but I definitely enjoy the Premier League more. So I'm just happy it's back.
Definitely, yeah, definitely. Right, before we just go on to the show, I'm just going to click on something here. This is a company that we're sponsored by, GlasshoKits.com. Basically, they do a wide range of football kits all around the world. From today's this season, basically, and obviously going back, obviously a few seasons more. They do a wide range of the old stuff, the vintage stuff of the football kits. Is good stuff, is authentic. The price ranges is good. I can't get it up on the screen to show you what kits they do in that, but I'm going to try and work on that because Marty does all that. But the prices are really good, you know. So that's if you haven't got it, please just look on there. Look on there. I've actually ordered 2 tops for Christmas. My missus don't know yet. I still haven't told her, and she's paying for it. She didn't realise that. So
it's a Christmas present.
Is a Christmas present. I know what one of them's an Arsenal one, so hopefully I have got Arsenal tops upstairs in my wardrobe, but maybe I should wear them when I'm streaming. I don't know, but you know, I just come on, do the show with a normal t-shirt on sometimes or whatever. But you know, all things change. All things come to a good reason to have done it. Right, let's get on with this show. Right, Bill. Merseyside derby, mate. Liverpool 2, Everton 0. Do you know what? I'm just going to say a little bit, and then I'll get you to explain what your feelings is on this game. I watched this game yesterday, early kickoff, 12:30, and I got to be honest with you, Everton, they didn't. I felt Everton they didn't play too bad for the first, obviously, 30 minutes of the game. Unfortunately, I think it was around about 37th, 38th minute. Ashley Young he got sent off. You know, he had 2 yellows and obviously straight red for him with that tackle at the end, which caused Liverpool to have a free kick. I mean, the first half, they didn't really do anything. The second half came in and Sean Dyche, he actually made 2 substitutions in the second half. It didn't make a difference anyway. He stuck on 3, 4, 5 substitutions, whatever. It was no match for Liverpool, and Salah, obviously, as you know, scoring 2 goals, the penalty and the goal towards the end of the game. I think it was around about the 90th minute. But you know, that's enough of me wobbling on the game. You know, about this game. What was your thoughts on this game, mate?
I mean, on the other stream, I predicted it perfectly. I said 2-0 Liverpool.
Yeah.
I thought it was going to be a whitewash. I was right. And to be fair, everything I expected from Liverpool happened, and everything I expected from Sean Dyche happened. The only thing that I do want to highlight is a potential second yellow for, I think it was Kanate.
Yeah.
There was definitely some controversy around it. And I haven't seen it enough to warrant a 100% opinion from me. But from what it looks like, I think he's lucky to get away with a second yellow, not a second yellow card, sorry. So, yeah, overall, I think there's definitely... we're definitely going to be discussing a bit more about VAR later on in this stream. But yeah, I think that everything that happened in the game was spot on to what I expected.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, but it's just times where you've got to feel sometimes for lower teams like Everton and Sean Dyche. I mean, you could tell when that sending off, when Young got sent off, when he made his substitution, you could tell it was from an attacking team to quite a defensive team. Obviously, thinking, right, we're away, Anfield, Liverpool. The best thing we could do is just defend, maybe come out of this with a point. With this, can you see Everton? How can you see them going on in their their next game and throughout the season? Do you think they'll gradually pick up points, or if they do you see them like in a slippery spiral? If they would sort of gradually go down the league and maybe just to be above a relegation or anything like that?
I think part of me never wants Everton to go down, and that's because they have never been relegated.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of two teams. The second team, I don't even want to say their name after the weekend. But yeah, I think one of two teams that have never been relegated. There may be more, there may be less. But for me, I think Dyche is the perfect manager for when it's not necessarily about the players you've got. It's not necessarily about whatever happened before. He's there to guarantee you to not get relegated. And I think Dyche is going to do that. I think he will pick up points throughout the season, whether we'll see the odd draw here, maybe a 1-0 win. Do you know what I mean? I see that happening a lot, especially with Dyche at the helm of it. So I'm not worried or concerned in that aspect for Everton. But highlighting an earlier point you made about feeling sorry and whatnot, I just think it's a shame that in the Premier League we look at this and go, like, even before everyone said, yeah, Liverpool are winning, and it's just a shame that maybe there wasn't a bit more competition in it. But in my opinion, I think this is probably the worst Everton side I've seen in absolute years.
Yeah, no, that's true. They are dire. I mean, Calvin Lewin, I mean, he come off, he didn't really do anything in the game. I feel they are definitely lacking up front, aren't they? They haven't got that particular goal scorer that can get them this. Even if it's 15 goals a season, do you know what I mean? They haven't got that. That's what they really need to improve on. I mean, I think the team is slightly. I think there's a couple of players. I say we're obviously the 30 mark. Going late into retirement. I mean, Young being one of them. I think he's actually young now. He's about 37, something like that.
Yeah, he's got to be late 30s.
He's got to be, So I mean, to be honest with you, they haven't really got the pace there, have they? Is a shame really, because when somebody like Dyche comes in, Everton fans were like, brilliant. Yeah, we got Dyche, this, that, and the other. But I just can't see nothing for Everton. I feel, towards the end of this season, I feel that they're going to be. I think they won't go down. I think they'll survive. I think 15th in the league.
Yeah. I could see them scraping relegation, but I think that's all that they're going to be able to achieve in the next few years. I think their owners have been one of the biggest problems among with their awful transfer business. I mean, absolutely. I mean, this is coming from a Chelsea fan who has a midfield three worth 300 million, right? Their transfers is ridiculous. They have pumped. If you look at how much money they've actually spent in the last, say, decade, the recruitment has been so poor. Their selling has been good. Don't get me wrong. The likes of Richarlison for 60 million. I'm pretty sure they sold Lukaku for a similar price. Ross Barkley, I think we signed or we loaned and whatnot. But they've definitely had players throughout the years where they've managed to make a profit on or gamble on and it's paid off. But it's one too many times now where they're signing players and it just has not worked out.
No. I mean, you touched on the name there, Rickardson. I mean, didn't really score loads of goals, particular for Everton. Obviously, as we know now, he's gone and signed for Tottenham. I think he's done the same thing now. I think he's only got one goal. Or maybe I can remember him scoring a couple of weeks back, but that's it. I don't feel that he's the greatest. And I mean, I'm not going to go into the depth in talking about it, but I mean, it's like the national team for Brazil. I feel I don't understand why he's there like over Jesus. To be honest with you, I just don't get that bit. But it is what it is. But staying with this, Liverpool. Obviously, Klopp's got his players in this season that he wanted to get. I mean, an excellent bloody signing from McAllister from Brighton. I mean, a World Cup winner, 35 million. I mean, that's a bargain in itself. How can you see?
Just quickly, sorry, finish the question, then I'll jump in.
How can you see Liverpool doing this season? I mean, are they your top four finish maybe in the league?
I said at the start of the season, the team that is going to push City the hardest this season would be Liverpool. I believe that with the signings they make, especially in January, if January they can pick up a proper number 6, a proper CDM that Chelsea doesn't want to go ahead and buy, like Lavia or Caicedo, I definitely see them being contenders. But I've already seen them as contenders. Alexis McAllister, they got very lucky on a release clause with that. I'm really surprised Brighton, after the World Cup, did not try and offer him another contract or try not to negotiate without a release clause, because there is not a world in which McAllister would go for less than 65 million. So they've lost 30 mil there. But yeah, overall, I think that at the end of the day, McAllister, a good signing for the price, but I think Klopp's just playing him in the wrong way. I understand it's very difficult when they've got a bunch of number 10s and number 8s, but they do need that solid number 6 to lock it down, because their defence, Van Dijk hasn't been the same since his injury. Matip's definitely not getting any better. Konate's improving, but throughout the matches, I don't know if you you said you watched this game, Konate just seems to just drift off and go in his own world sometimes. So he's clearly young and still adapting and getting better. But I think they definitely need a number 6 in front who can lead that back line and offer that defensive stability that potentially they need for the time being. Yeah, I'm saying that they got a clean sheet, so
they got a clean sheet.
They didn't do that bad, but I think they need to invest a little bit.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, and I think you had this one spot on, didn't you, on Friday night? This
damn straight.
On the Friday night takeaway on the Man United agenda. Yeah. You notice I actually say, I'm promoting another show on this stream. I mean, we're on there every Friday, aren't we? We're on there every Friday. We were giving each other a bit of stick for that shit for certain reasons, but we will sort of come on to that after. I'm just going to go on to the onto the next game. This was today's game. They didn't put the score in, but Aston Villa versus West Ham. And absolutely, I think it was 4. I was at work today, so unfortunately I didn't see this game, and I had to go somewhere else after work as well and come back. That's why I rushed back. So it was 4-1, I believe, to Aston Villa, and absolutely, it's like Aston Villa are like. They're high flying at the minute, aren't they? Aston Villa in the league, I mean, they're doing really well since they got Unai Emery last season, taking them from 17th in the league last season and finishing, I think it was around about 6th. I think they finished last season.
Yeah, they definitely got Europa League.
Yeah, they got Europa League, and I feel that he's achieved how he's turned that team round, and Ollie Watkins. to me, he come on leaps and bounds last season. Didn't quite do it at the start of this season, did he? I think there was around about 4, maybe 5 games into the season where he didn't score. But obviously, he was up there causing havoc, and doing bits sort of thing. And then I knew as soon as he scored his first goal, he then will start scoring, and he won't stop scoring. So, but yeah, I mean, obviously, he scored today. Obviously, Bowen was the only one that scored for West Ham. But I didn't watch this game, Bill. If you could tell us what you think of this game, and also, your thoughts basically. Go on, mate.
I'm going to start off with just disappointing from West Ham. I really thought there was going to be a competition on display. I did not expect it to be as clear cut as that. I didn't watch the game as well. I was at work all day, but I got home and I watched the highlights of this game, and from what I saw, I definitely saw a lot more composure in front of goal from Villa. And I'm thinking, if I'm being completely honest, I predicted it when Unai Emery was announced the Aston Villa manager. We saw it with Gerrard at the helm. A lot of players were restricted. It looked like all of them were in handcuffs and they were forced to do something they didn't want to do. And Unai Emery, for me, has come in, set up his system, got the players he wants in that system, and he's also got the players on board with that system, which is very important. And I think Aston Villa are definitely a team that I enjoy watching. I think that they're a team that overall has a lot of potential to not be challenging for the league, but definitely pushing for the top 6 again. And in Europe, that for me, my prediction is for them to win the Europa League. So, yeah. Moving on from Villa to West Ham again, I think if West Ham continue with this dip in form and the fluctuation and their inconsistency of form, it's going to be a real challenge for fans to get behind Moyes. I definitely think that he got lucky last season because they won the Conference League. If they didn't win the Conference League, there would have been a lot of fingers pointing at Moyes to get out of the club. And I don't think they're going to win Europa this year. So I think that they need to try and fully invest in the league, maybe push a little bit further on into the Europa League. But I definitely think the West Ham need to pick up some consistent form in the Premier League.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, it's like you touched on yourself when you said, obviously, with their manager, Aston Villa, Unai Emery. In a minute, I think he's the king, isn't he, for winning the Europa Leagues. I think he's won about. Blimey, it's got to be about, I think, 7 Europa Leagues now. I think since he left Arsenal. Yeah, I mean, he won it with, I think it was Villarreal. I think he won it with, and was it? What's the other one? I think was it the one that Gary Neville used to?
Oh, was it Sevilla?
It may have been Sevilla, or if not, it could have been. I think it was the one that Gary Neville used to manage.
I can't remember that too, to be honest. Gary Neville is not someone who I enjoy studying. That geezer is full of it, so that would not help me.
But yeah, I mean, he could literally he could go in, and obviously go on and win it with Villa. I can't see why not. I mean, he's a fantastic manager. I mean, his CV sees it all, literally sees it all. And with me being an Arsenal fan, I feel he wasn't given the chance. He was shoved under. I would have still have liked him to be our manager. And I believe if he was, and the players that we had last season, I think personally, I think we would have won that Premier League last season. I really do. I really do. Anyway, I think we have got a comment in here from Drew Blackman, and he says, "Don't forget to drop a like, people. Thanks, Joe. Thanks for tuning in, mate." Also, we have a poll, I believe. The poll's in for the Premier League team of your weekend. Feel free. Smash what team you feel it is. I think it's between Man City, Newcastle, Aston Villa. I think it's Brentford. I think it's it's Brentford. Yeah, it's Brentford. So at the minute, as you can see, 6 votes are in so far. Who was your team of the weekend? Aston Villa got 67% so far. Newcastle 33%, and Man City and both Man City and Brentford at 0%. So I'm quite surprised at that, especially with I think with Brentford. I think that there was I think was it 3-0?
Yeah.
I think they won. But yeah, I mean, we'll discuss this. I'll get back to you, Bill, from who your favorite team was this weekend, and also your favorite player of the weekend as well. So we'll get back into that, and that's that. Actually, I'll tell you what. See when we're on it. Let's do that now. Let's do that now. So, Richard Paul, who was your favourite team of the weekend, Bill, and why?
I'm gonna be biased, and you know what I'm gonna say. I'm gonna say Chelsea.
Who?
Chelsea.
I can't hear you. Who? Who?
Sorry, someone muted my mic.
Oh right, I do apologise, mate. I thought you said Did you say who?
I said Chelsea.
Oh right, no, I thought you said something else. Yeah, carry on.
That is the best performance we've seen from Chelsea this season, especially coming up against a tough opposition like Arsenal, who, dominated the league last season. Do you know what I mean? 90% they're at the top of the league for, so they wouldn't have been there for no reason. We performed extremely well against them, and I think that overall, it was just unfortunate that there was an extra 20 minutes on the game.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, for Chelsea, for me, I think
Chelsea.
Each player played well. But taking my bias out of it, I'll say Aston Villa.
Oh, you sod. Do you know what? It's always the same with you. I got something in my head and I think, right, yeah, that's it. And then you literally comes out and say it, what's in my head. That was the same team I was going to go for was Aston Villa.
Yeah, it's got to be
Aston Villa anyway, or it would have been Newcastle, but Aston Villa was mine. I feel that. Do you know what? I feel with Aston Villa and the West Ham game today, I didn't really think it was going to be a game like that. Predictions. I had Aston Villa winning the game 2-1 with a James Ward-Prowse free kick. So I personally went on the fence with it. I went 2-2. That was my prediction. The game Friday as well. That was when we was on the Man United agenda. But I mean, when I come out, I finished work and actually seen the bloody result. I was like, Jesus, I didn't even think that. But I mean, it's like what we said with Unai Emery. I mean, fair play. They've got them up running and that. I'm going to be honest with you. I think these two teams, Newcastle and Villa, I think they can most probably challenge for a top four. Is there around the base? I mean, you look at Tottenham. I mean, the reason why Tottenham are where they are in the league is because people turn around and said, "Oh, yeah, but look who's Tottenham's played. They've had easy games so far." All right, we knew that we played them and we were literally rubbish against them, and we were at home. And
Liverpool, Spurs absolutely beat them up.
Yeah, all right, true. Yeah, true. I just want to see something big about the Arsenal, but I mean Liverpool as well, yeah. But I feel that I think their time's going to come to an end soon. But I mean, these are teams that they've played against and they've played really well. I mean they've beaten. I mean since last week, Luton last week they only managed to not last week, but going back their last league game, they just managed to scrape that 1-0 win. And in all fairness, I thought Tottenham were lucky to win that game against Luton, even though Tottenham were down to 10 men. They had that sending off, but I thought Luton stood their ground and they played really well. And obviously losing against a good opposition against Tottenham, going back a couple of weeks ago. If I was a Luton fan, I would have been happy with that. You're expecting like a 3 or 4-0, like a drumming. Yeah. I mean, for them to do that and lose 1-0, I think it is fantastic. But going back to the Paul, I feel that Aston Villa, for me, I think that them or Newcastle could most probably, I think, a 4th or 5th place. Any one of them. I mean, obviously, it ain't going to be Man United this season. I'm sorry, Man United fans, if you're watching and you're in the chat. I really do apologise, but I personally think they're going to finish around about 8th, 9th. And I think with Chelsea, the way they are and the way they're playing, maybe I'm thinking of a Europa for Chelsea. I mean, top 6, maybe 7th. I mean, let's get 7th, get them down into the Europa Conference, in it. But is that's the way that one is. Bill, your player of the weekend.
I'm gonna go. I don't want to do it again. I'm not being biased again. I won't do it out of respect for the channel. It's going to be a Villa player, and it's going to be P.L.W.S. Is that your answer?
Yeah, believe it or not. 2 goals, yeah?
Yeah, penalty.
Yeah.
One of them.
God, I hate you, Bill. I didn't really. You're all right, but But yeah, P.L.W.S. was mine as well. I feel. I watched a little clip on YouTube, like obviously the highlights of the game, as much as I could. So literally about, I think it might have been about 2 minutes, if that. And that P.L.W.S. I mean, we wasted our time going back. I can't remember if it was last season or season before. Arsenal wanted him in the January transfer window, and we wasted a whole month trying to get him, and we never got him, obviously. So, but I can see why we want to go for him. I mean, he sort of forfeits in that defensive midfield, doesn't he? That box to box midfielder. He's really brilliant. I really do like him and rate him. I mean, obviously the 2 goals today against West Ham. I mean, commiserations against West Ham as well, because I mean they haven't had a bad start to this season, have they, West Ham?
No, they look very good.
Yeah, and I really feel for them, but I mean, they're strong opposition, but obviously, unfortunately, sometimes games go like this and that, and it's like what I said with P.L.W.S. scoring 2 goals. He was fantastic to me. From what I've seen of him on the highlights, he didn't step a foot wrong at all. Absolutely brilliant. I think I would have to. I think he got. I don't know if he got man of the match or not, but just looking at those 2 minutes on that video, it won't surprise me if he did get man of the match. Even though Ollie Watkins did score 1, and he assisted in a goal as well, I believe. But if I had to give a man of the match in that game, it would be P.L.W.S. So, but that's the reason why. And what are we now? We're 30 minutes into this stream. Right. Chelsea 2, Arsenal 2. Do you know what, Bill? I'm just going to let you have your say, and then I'm going to have mine. This might get into a bit of a debate, but it'll be a friendly debate. Okay? So, your thoughts on this game, and basically, you may deserve to win this game. So I'll tell you what, the floor is yours, mate. I'll let you explain your team, Chelsea.
We played phenomenally well. We played out of our skin. Definitely our best performance by far this season. I think, unfortunately, we just ran out of steam. I think the level of play, the level of player that we have, the level of players we have, it's just not up to par. For 77 minutes, Arsenal didn't tally a shot on target for 77 minutes. And then, due to a silly mistake by our goalkeeper, went straight to Declan Rice, and he just popped it into an open goal. It was a good shot. It was from outside the box, and it wasn't the easiest of angles, but it's a lot easier when there's no goalkeeper in the way. And since then, the tide sort of seemed to sway, and then it started going in Arsenal's favour a lot. I thought we defended quite well. We definitely looked a bit shaky. Levi Colwill being one of them, and Robert Sanchez as well being another. Both of them looked very suspect at the back yesterday. But unfortunately, our team Chelsea just decided to shut off after the 77th minute. Once we conceded that first goal, our heads dropped. And then, they scored a second goal. I'll leave it at that. But yeah, so gutted, but I'm also very happy with how we performed as well. It's positive.
Yeah, it was. I mean, we were dire. We were crap, and we were discussing this literally about 5 minutes before we come live on air, wasn't it? And Arsenal were poor in that game for 75 minutes.
Yeah,
literally, we were just poor. There is so much that I want to say on this game, but I'm going to save it to the show that on Thursday. But I am going to explain bits of this show, and I'm going to explain it on Thursday night. Gunners from all corners with a panel on there, and it's going to be added more on to this one. We were lucky. Seriously, we were lucky to get a draw at your ground. Your stomping ground, your ground. I don't know what it feels like for you, Bill. I know it's 2-2. Does it feel like more like a defeat in one way?
It feels like a win for me. What hurts more is the fact that we should have won. Could have won, should have won. But coulda, shoulda, woulda doesn't cut it in football. Once the final whistle's gone, that's that. I think that potentially there was a chance of us winning the game, a very highly likely chance of us winning the game. But like I've said already, our heads seemed to drop, and then it peeled off. I was the only one in the entire world that was confident in Chelsea, apparently. Everyone else seemed to just think that Arsenal were going to come and batter us. I saw 3-0 predictions, 3-1 predictions. I know, Anthony, yours was 3-1 or 2-1.
Yeah.
And I told everyone how I felt. I felt we were going into it confident. I think Chelsea have been playing better football, and we definitely saw that yesterday. So, yeah, I take it, but it just hurts a bit knowing that we could have won it as well.
All right. Right, here we go. I'm going to say my bit now. All right. Let me have a drink.
Go
on. I'm not happy about this game. I wasn't happy with how the team played. I thought we were crap. I thought we were poor. The first things first, the penalty decision, I thought that took the piss. Obviously, when I can't remember what your player was when he headed it, and it hit.
Mudryk. It was a penalty.
People say, it was a penalty, but I think the way we went for it to head the ball, I think it was one of those, it was 50-50. It was either... do you know, I'm not... It was a penalty, but it's like, with the decision, it could have been 50-50. I've seen worse than that. It could have either gone against you, or maybe it could have worked in one's favour. That's my opinion of it. What took the piss in that game was when that happened, and then VAR, 3 minutes after that happened, VAR called over the referee to look at the screen to check the penalty check. Yeah. I thought that ripped the piss, because they should have done that literally 10-15 seconds after that happened. So that's a balls up for me. That's a balls up on VAR. Absolutely crap, and I don't like VAR. Personally, I think it's a little bollocks, and they should get rid of it. That's my opinion. So yeah, that's what I detest it. Get it out. It's no good. The other thing as well, Our team played so crap. I don't even know why Arteta picked Jorginho in that free. I don't know why he didn't start with Partey. I was surprised that Saka was playing because Saka was injured. I know he had the international duty and he had 2 weeks off. I thought he was on that fantasy football. It said that he was 75% that he might not be playing. That's seriously. That's what I took him out. I put him on the bench, and I thought myself. And then he starts. Then he's in the team. So that off a little bit because I could have got some extra, fucking
points for the assist.
Yeah, and the other thing as well, the whole team was crap. Our Arsenal was absolutely shit. They were shocking. Ben White, I thought Ben White was a bit poor. Maybe that's him dyeing his hair grey. I don't know. Seriously, I think that was he was ridiculous in that game. Saliba, so I'm giving Ben White a 4. Right, I'm going to do my ratings now. I'm going to rate him a 4. I thought Gabriel was absolutely crap. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm rating him a 4. Saliba, I didn't think. I felt sorry for him for that handball, but listen, it went against him. I don't think he had a good game. I'm rating him a 4. Zinchenko, I thought he was absolutely crap. He come off. He was subbed off. I didn't think he was that great. I'm giving him a 4. Jorginho, well, I think he should piss off. Personally, he hadn't done nothing. He hadn't really done nothing. He scored that good goal last season. He wasn't too bad, but this season, no, he hasn't really done anything. He hasn't really done anything for Arsenal. Okay, yeah, fine. He's not a starter. He puts his boots on the wrong feet, comes out on the pitch, does a little whatever, and then that's it. That's all he's good for. But what's 12 million going to get you these days, right? I thought Odegaard was poor. He was drifting in and out. He didn't do nothing in the game. He was a drifter in that game. Didn't do nothing. I thought Royce was okay, but when I say okay, just okay. Even though he scored that goal, and it was a good goal, but he was lucky he got that goal. That was just pure luck. That ball kicked for him, and then he just rifled it and he just kicked it straight into the net. It was a good goal. Who else am I missing? I don't think Martinelli was that great. I think you.
Malo Gusto.
Yeah, I think Martinelli. What Arteta is. I don't know why he swapped Arteta and Saka. Just what I mean. Just swap them over just to see where so they can just create more problems and get more balls into the box, basically. That one done. So I thought Martinelli was poor, but fair shout to him because you marked him out the game. So I'm going to give Martinelli a 4. Saka, even though he assisted goal, I didn't think he played a great game. Personally, I don't think he played great at all. I think your defense it would have been against him, yeah. So I felt he was marked out the game there. Even though I thought you Chelsea throughout the game, I thought you played a bit dirty sometimes, and I'm thinking, right, well, come on, Arsenal, step up your plate and give it back to them. But there was no fire in Arsenal at all. There's more fire in your team, right? And last but not least, Jesus, I thought he was poor. Seriously, I thought he was absolutely poor. So I'm going to give Saka a 5, Declan Rice a 5, and I give most probably Jesus a 4.
Yeah.
Which now that's the outfield players. Coming on, well, I just want to say Ramsdale wasn't in goal because him and his wife they were at the hospital. They had a baby. Is the birth of his child. Whether it was a boy or girl, I don't know, but congratulations to them. And I can understand why he wasn't featured. Now, which leads me to come on to Ray, our goalkeeper, the third best Premier League goalkeeper last season when he played for Brentford. He's come in, and I got to be honest with you. People saying like, he's coming to a bigger club, better ambitions, and all this and that. So the weight's on his shoulder. Listen, this keeper come in for Ramsdale. So in other words, Ramsdale, he wanted to challenge Ramsdale because Ramsdale was making City beginning part of this season and last season was making mistakes, but these were mistakes that weren't 100% his. He's partly to blame for them, and the defense was partly to blame for him because towards last season, you got to think Arsenal had Saliba out injured. Yeah, Zinchenko was doing the inverted and he wasn't getting back. So that was two problems that Ramsdale was had in front of him, right? So apart from that, but this Raya, I got to be honest with you, and I am going to say it in a minute. He's dog shit. I seriously, he's dog shit. He's balls up in the Champions League against Lens when he kicked that ball out to Tomiyasu, and they intercepted that pass from him. Went on down the pitch and scored 1-2-1. So we lost the game. We beat Man City 1-0, and the stupid what he's doing, passing out from the back, is absolutely ludicrous. It is crap, and he still keeps doing it. Man City could have went 3-0 up in 25 minutes in the last game. And thank God they didn't. They couldn't score. They couldn't find his goal in the back of the net. And the other thing as well, in this Chelsea game, what a load of crap. I mean, the passes he's made. I'm not blaming him for the Mudryk goal. That Mudryk goal, we know it was a fucking fluke. That was a fluke. It was a shot, cross-country shot, and he was stood at the wrong. He was sort of like stood away from it, and it was a fluke. I'm not blaming him. I'm not going to blame him for that. But Bill, you got to admit that goal was a fluke from Mudryk, and
partly
it was. Partly. It was. I've actually scored a goal like that before, and not being funny, I have. When we've crossed it and it's actually gone in and hit the post and gone in. I don't know if you've ever done that before, but I've scored one like it, and people went, "Oh, you've had a fluke." I went, "Nah, mate, I meant that." But they knew that I was having a laugh and I was taking the piss, and it was a fluke, right? So that was a fluke. The decisions he makes in goal when he's passing it out for the back. How many times I was watching the game, and I got to be honest with you, through 90 minutes, I think I might have said over 100 F words in throughout the 90 minutes, and it was all aimed at the team, but most of them was aimed at Raya. I think he should be dropped. I want Ramsdale in. I don't care what any Arsenal fans say, or if there's any Arsenal fans now watching this in the chat and he puts a comment in. I don't care. I want Raya. He needs to be dropped and Ramsdale in. And if Ramsdale comes in, right, and he plays rubbish, then he gets dropped for Raya. So that's my opinion. And I seriously, I know he's had that. He went in because him and his missus had a baby. But I'm sorry, but Ramsdale needs to go in goal. I'm not having it. That Raya, he's made too many mistakes now in his last 3 games. And you could have scored one, literally ran out and passed it, and it literally went to your player. Palmer, yeah, and literally just shot past the post. Yeah, I couldn't believe it. I was like, it felt like, and I'm not exaggerating now, and I am going to say it, it felt like my balls was in my throat. Seriously, when I saw that, I couldn't believe it. And I tell you what, I don't know if it's maybe a Spanish connection between Arteta and Raya. I don't know. But I'm telling you something now. This guy, I'm not safe with him between the sticks. I'd rather have Ramsdale in that goal. Seriously, I'd rather have Ramsdale. And people forget last season when Ramsdale was in goal, yeah, he helped us to get to that Champions League, to finish in the top 4. We finished second. We could have won, but look what we had. Saliba was out, and that Zinchenko inverted system going up and struggling to get back. Bill, I've had a little bit of a rant. Is there anything more that you want to say and touch on this game?
Yeah. Firstly, the handball. I think his hand because it's up that high, it's a can't remember the word for it now. It's in an unnatural position, in my opinion. No one goes up for a header with their hands like a seagull. So I think that's a blatant penalty. It was Mudrik's header that came off into his hand. You could argue the distance away from which the header, but again, his hand was in such an unnatural position that unfortunately that's just the way of the world. Secondly, the goal that was a fluke. It was part fluke. You can see Mudryk look up. You can see he tries looking for the cross, but then you can also see him have a glance at the keeper. So there's a bit of that. And then also, I think Raya's positioning is partly the issue to that goal as well.
Yeah.
It was a great goal. The fact that he managed to chip him from the edge of the box by the corner of the 18-yard box or by the byline. But unfortunately, Raya's position there caught him off and we got a goal from it. I think overall, your goal with Rice, that was very lucky as well. I think at the end of the day, you've just got to take that and run with it. Do you know what I mean? And that's exactly what Arsenal did. You've complained about how poor Arsenal were, and I think it's very unjust that I haven't heard Arteta's name enough. I'm blaming him.
No, I was going to blame him.
The only reason your team is winning games is because of the quality of players you have.
Yeah.
We are starting to find out how Arsenal are playing now, and it's starting to backfire on Arteta. And now we're going to try and see if Arteta has a plan B in place. Because after all, that's what's going to be an issue. Teams are starting to find out Arsenal now. Do you know what I mean? For 80 minutes or 77 minutes, exactly whatever, Chelsea were completely dominant over Arsenal. And that's part and parcel of what Arteta had planned and what he had, i.e. with team selection, i.e. with how they wanted to play. It just did not play to your advantages. You lot seemed to try and press. It never worked. We were quite comfortable on the ball. Then you decided to all drop back. But then once you got it, you kept trying to play it around. And Chelsea were more than happy to sit back, soak up the pressure, and then hit you on the counter.
You were just watching us passing, and not being funny, when we were passing around, we couldn't break the defence down. We were just literally passing for the shake hell of it. And then we were knackered. I mean, we didn't do nothing. It's like what we touched on there. Well, we touched on this now. Arsenal did not do nothing these 75 to 80 minutes of the game. Seriously, we were that shit and we were that poor. And I do you know what? I was frustrated. Then it went until Trossard's goal towards the end. That made it 2-2. And then, that was it. But through the game, I feel, obviously we were poor. It pissed me off, to be honest with you, that game. And then I had a certain individual messaging me on WhatsApp. That didn't help. I ain't saying no names. And then I can remember I messaging this guy back saying, well, enjoy it while it lasts. And to be honest with you, I thought to myself, we're going to lose this, but I'll just say it. Enjoy it while it lasts. And then I swiped it across, and then obviously put underneath, I'll leave this just here, send.
I think.
And you like that message, didn't you, Bill?
The thing was, I respect it. The fact that you're backing your team, even when your team are getting smacked out of the park, even when there is no hope for your team, you're still backing them, and yet they clutch it out of nowhere. Yeah. And that, fair play to you. I think, if I'm being honest, it's looking positive at Stamford Bridge. It's looking positive at Chelsea Football Club. You said to me a couple of weeks ago, the next run of games, you don't see us picking up any points. You said you don't see us picking up, you maybe see us picking up 3 points or 6 points. I can't remember exactly what you said, but if we play like this against Brentford, we're winning. If we play like this against Tottenham, it's going to be a good game. If we play like this against United or City, I think we'll lose. Because City, and they've got Rodri back. So that's just a whole different game. But I see us picking up a good few wins here, and I can see us climbing up the table again.
I think that's what I said on Friday night stream show. I said same with Man United as well. I said if Chelsea and Man United can pick up at least 3 or 4 wins, go on a winning streak, obviously that'll take you up to. I think now if you won do you know what? I think that'll take you up to around about. God, blimey, that most probably take you up to about 7th or 6th spot, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
No, if you done that, and it's like the same thing with Man United as well. I mean, we all got problems at our team as well. I mean, obviously, my opinion on Kai Havertz. I mean, obviously, he come on and towards the end, and he was absolutely crap. He was absolutely awful. But I just feel, this game. I think this is the worst Arsenal performance I've seen this season, and I know we're undefeated. In a minute. Is us in Tottenham, but. Do you know what, Bill? I'm going to ask you a quick question because it's the Premier League weekend show and it's a Premier League team, right? Arsenal and Tottenham are the only, North London, 2 North London teams undefeated this season. Which one of those 2 can you see losing first and why?
I think Tottenham, and that's because of Arsenal's resilience.
Yeah.
I think if Tottenham were in this game, they were 2-0 up, they conceded and their heads dropped, I think they would have done the exact same thing and I think their heads would have dropped. Whereas with Arsenal, they were 2-0 down and they managed to clutch up the game in the 88th minute or whatever ridiculous time it was. So I think the resilience from Arsenal are definitely going to take them a lot further than Tottenham. I still think Tottenham are running on that high cloud with Ange. I do think it will come to an end. I do think that it will start slowing down. But for the time being, it's working and no one can really criticise it. But Arsenal have definitely got some serious questions, whether that's with their manager, whether that's with his selections, whether that's with some of the players, whether that's with the style of play. Do you know what I mean? Whatever it is, there definitely needs to be some questions raised at Arsenal Football Club.
Yeah, that's definitely. There's just a couple of comments. I'm just going to read through them. Obviously, Football United TV. This is Matt, and big up Matt, by the way. He says 9 votes so far. Who has won the team of the weekend? Aston Villa, 67%. Newcastle, 33%, and Man City and Brentford still at 0%. They got nothing. But then again, I think I actually put my vote in for this one. I did vote.
So did I.
Aston Villa.
Yeah.
Yes, I knew you would. I know you would have. Yeah, but yeah, that's my race. Yeah, Aston Villa. You got to give it to Aston Villa. If not, if that was a true, I would have most probably give it to Newcastle. But then when Newcastle played, when Crystal Palace played Forest in their last game, did you know Crystal Palace when they played against Forest, they had. Who was it? Crystal Palace had 9 injuries before that game, and they had 2 injuries when they were playing that game. So all in total, they had 11 players injured 2 weeks ago. I don't know what their team.
Don't talk to me about that, man. Chelsea literally a month ago had a full 11 of injuries.
Yeah,
like an actual starting 11 of injuries. And Nkunku is still out. That guy, when he comes back, it's going to be beautiful at Stamford Bridge. I guarantee it. We had Chukwuemeka who was out injured. We've had Reece James. We've had Chilwell. We've had Nkunku, like I've said. We had Bettinelli, who's the keeper. We've had we had Broja. He's come back. He's now injured again. We've had, who else am I looking at here? I think Sterling went out for a little bit. Madueke went out for a little bit, maybe. But yeah, don't talk to a Chelsea fan about injuries because you'll get an earful.
Yeah, an earful. Yeah. Yeah, and let's go back to AFC always says if Odegaard can't turn up for the big games, for the big important games, how can he remain as club captain? Do you know what? I don't think he's club captain. I don't, even though he's our captain, I don't think he's captain material. Odegaard.
Rice, sorry to cut you off. It is as simple as just Rice.
Yeah,
Rice screams of leadership.
Well, one of them's gone. One of them's gone out on loan to Real Sociedad. That's Betty Fiorentino. It's one of them two are captain materials. I don't think the rest of them are. I don't think the rest of them are at all.
I think Saliba can be, and I think that's lead, and I think you can get different types of captains. Roy Keane was a very manager-like captain in the
Yeah.
sense that he wanted
I mean,
everyone at
Vieira
training
wasn't too bad, but my
discipline.
favourite was Roy Keane.
Yeah, you had Henderson at Liverpool. He was very loud on the pitch, communicating. He was quite a leader in that sense. And then you've had people like Steven Gerrard, who was a captain, not necessarily that disciplined, not necessarily that loud on the pitch, but he led by example and led by how he played. And I think Saliba can be like Gerrard in the sense that he can lead the players on how they play. And Saliba can calmly collect the ball and go, look, guys, this is what I can do. You lot need to be doing this as well.
Yeah.
So I do see potential in Saliba as captain.
Saliba as captain. Yeah, I think, I totally forgotten, but I think he could. I think he's a fighter as well. I just like one of those that likes, when you can't hear obviously what's on the pitch. And obviously with us watching the football games, the action talks louder than the words. And if we could see this, like we see Declan Rice doing this, giving it up to the players and the fans during this is why Declan Rice to me should be the captain of Arsenal Football Club. AFC always goes on to say, I would rather start Tomiyasu instead of Zichinga. I do agree with that. Tomiyasu for his national country. He could play right back, I believe centre back and also left back as well. I think his position is left back. Obviously, for his national.
He was just quickly on Tomiyasu. He was dreadful. He did nothing but just continuously try and foul Chelsea players, and not even in like a smart tactical way. Like he was just too slow, too what's the opposite of agile? But like he looked clunky. He was too busy trying to hug players instead of trying to get the ball. So I disagree with that. AFC always. I would have still kept Zinchenko, but
trouble is though he didn't really. I think when you see Ben White and Saka, that partnership, it really works. The overlapping and that. We haven't got that on the left. It's Martinelli that's really doing all the work. And then when you come behind Martinelli as well, you look what's there on the left. Sometimes you got Kai Havertz there, and I mean, he hasn't got pace at all, Kai. You know that. He's your ex-player, for Christ's sake. And he's got no pace about. Why would you stick a 6'4" player out on the left wing with no pace? Surely you want him, a player that tall, you want him poaching around the inside the 18-yard box and at least get crosses into him so he can head them on, or maybe scoring tap-ins around the 6-yard box. I mean, that's what he used to do over in Germany. That was why Frank Lampard bought him. But obviously, I don't know. Most probably he finds the Premier League too hard. This one from AS, that one with Tomiyasu. I'm just going to quickly touch on that one. I can understand what you're saying, and I could agree with you. Tomiyasu, come on, he didn't play that great because when you've got 9-10 players that ain't playing great around you, it's going to affect your play anyway. So that's that one. For 80 minutes, we were horrendous. Yeah, we were. We touched on that. 75 minutes to 80 minutes. Why couldn't we play the last 10 minutes like that from the start? Once Arsenal pulled the goal back, Chelsea collapsed. Yeah, they did. They did collapse a bit. I mean, Bill most probably admit that as well. I think the last. What would you say, Bill? Would you most probably say the last 20 minutes, 15 minutes of the game? The
last 15, last 10. I wouldn't say last 20 because it was towards the end of the 70th minute. I mean, I think you recorded your first shot on goal in the 77th minute.
He changed it. He said not collapse, more like heads were dropped.
Yeah.
So, which is always a better comment, and I understood that. And I agree with him 100% on this one. Your heads were dropped like the last 15 minutes.
Sorry, I forgot about this. I wanted to rant about this specifically. I'm very sorry to do this, Anthony. Why? Right, am I allowed to swear before I swear?
Yeah, I swore about 4 or 5 times on this show. Just don't say poo.
Why the fuck? What? Hear me out. Why the fuck did we bring Reece James on at right wing?
Yeah.
Oh, right back. Like, if we get him some fitness. I get that. Stick him on at right back. If you're not that confident, leave Malo Gusto. Mudryk was cooking on the left. Sterling was doing all right on the right. We could have kept Sterling up front, or we could have kept Cole Palmer, or we could have potentially put in Mudryk. But we did not need to take off Mudryk, who was one of our lethal attacking players in that game. On top of that, I thought our front line did very well anyway. But then to bring on a fullback at right wing, tactically, is smart if he were to drop back and potentially do a back five, where we had like Cucurella on the left wing, then we had Colwill at left centre back, Thiago in the middle, then Reece James or Malo at right centre back, and then the right wing back. But we didn't do that. We still played a 4-3-3, but had Reece James playing fucking right wing. But then we brought on Madueke, who is naturally a right winger who loves to attack from the right, cut inside on his left, and hit it. That's what Madueke loves to do. We saw it when he was in the Eredivisie. We've seen it at Chelsea. We've seen it at England under 21s. He cooks on the right, cutting in on his left and hitting it. Why are we playing him now on the left wing, and playing a right back at right wing? It's ridiculous. That was the only thing that really pissed me off that game from Chelsea and Poch. That was the only thing that I really questioned.
When I seen that, and I thought to myself, well, I wonder what he's doing there, like, because it felt like it was more of it's sort of like it was like a defensive kind of tactic, wasn't it? When he and obviously it didn't work because I think that substitution was made just before Trossard actually scored the goal, wasn't it? Yeah. And then obviously with Trossard being at the right place, I think that was a fantastic goal with Trossard, the way how he positioned himself and he got his foot to it and went straight in. That to me, that was brilliant. I mean, don't get me wrong, Declan Rice's goal was good, but I couldn't help thinking it was gifted. That goal was slightly gifted to him.
I think the only argument I could bring to that goal is it was equally as good as it was poor from Malo Gusto, who was unaware defensively. I think it was a good crossing from Saka at the back post. I think Trossard did very well to get a toe onto that and get it in the net. But I think Malo Gusto really should have been marking him properly. Yeah,
definitely. I'll just hit this comment here. It says Jeremy Douglas from Man City looks a great player, world class.
Yes.
There, you agree with that?
I've been watching Jeremy Doku since he was in the League One. I've wanted him at Chelsea. I've been watching him. I think he's been a fantastic young talent who has been scouted all over the world. And for me personally, I've loved watching it. The only reason I watched League One was because of Jeremy Doku.
Yeah.
Because I enjoyed watching him play.
Yeah, I think they signed him obviously this season, haven't they?
Yeah.
And I felt, what I've seen of him, I've liked him. Even like the highlights on Match of the Day or wherever you're or watching him. Obviously when we, played against Man City and that, and I felt he's a really good player. He's definitely I think he's really young as well. What is he, like 20?
21.
21. Yeah, I was going to say 21, 22. And he's got a lot to learn. I mean, obviously, players at that age, they still make mistakes, look. But obviously, it's best to make mistakes now at that age, and then you can learn by them. And then when that time you get around about 27, when they say you're in your peak, that's obviously, you're playing basically, technically, you're supposed to be playing the best football days of your life there between the age of 27 and 32, 33. And obviously, when you get more older, the pace comes down. You lose a bit of the pace then, don't you? But then AFC TV always goes on and says, what a job Emery has done so far with Villa. He shows ability to adapt and evolve. And as a manager, and the results is that the team is no longer playing defensively and is a lot more ruthless. They are. I totally agree with this comment. They are more ruthless, Aston Villa. Do you know what? I'll be honest with you now. Maybe Bill might agree with this being a Chelsea fan, but I mean, I don't know. Have you played Villa yet this season?
Yes.
What was the score?
You know the score. Look at that smirk. Don't chat to me.
What was the score?
It was Ollie Watkins' first goal of the season.
Yeah.
And they won 1-0, I believe.
1-0. But then again, you look at that. I mean, it's like what I actually said that in the first stream, beginning part of the stream, didn't I, with Ollie Watkins when he first got his goal and that. I'm surprised you didn't jump in,
I bit my tongue.
Yeah, but I mean, he's done fantastically well. I mean, I'd be worried about playing Aston Villa, like obviously going to their ground at Villa Park. I mean, obviously, you know, with the Villa fans,
Mm.
you know, playing away Villa Park, their ground, you know, their stomping ground. I feel that they can. I'd be worried seriously that it's not a walk through the park, and
No.
also going to St James's Park as well against Newcastle. I'd be worried. Both teams, I'd be worried about if Arsenal played this season away. Is that there'd be a threat? Do you know what? I'd most probably be worried about them playing at the Emirates as well. That's the way
Yeah.
it is at the minute. But I mean, they've done really well, especially Aston Villa. You know, with obviously Unai Emery and that. I couldn't believe on that. Is there? We've come to the end of the show now, Bill. Is there anything that you want to add before we leave?
Thanks for everyone for tuning in. Thank you, AFC King TV,
Yeah,
and everyone else for their comments. Joe at the top as well at the very start. I've enjoyed being on the stream again. Anthony, great host as always.
true.
And come on, you Blues.
Oh, right. Okay. Well, you know, it's like what I said. Bill touched it. Everybody is joining today. Watch, put your comments in. Thanks for that. And, you know, take your time out to obviously watch tonight's show. I'm bloody glad it was 2-2 and none of us had to do that thing.
Yeah, so for anyone who's still tuned in, me and Anthony actually made a bet that if I were to lose, if Chelsea were to lose against Arsenal, I would have had to wear an Arsenal shirt for tonight's stream. Thank God that didn't happen.
Yeah.
And Anthony, if Arsenal lost, what was your forfeit?
My forfeit was, if you remember Mr. B when he ate broccoli, mine wasn't broccoli,
Yeah.
mine was going to be celery. And I actually went out and bought some yesterday, and I'm thinking, right, I got to be a man of my word, and I was going to chop it up and put it in a bowl. I most probably got through half of it. I seriously, I would have been gagging. I would have been sick, literally live on stream. I most probably would have puked, honestly, because I hate the stuff. That I can't stand the smell of the stuff. It is completely rank. So, you know, a forfeit, a bet's a bet, and it would have been a forfeit. I'm sorry that it never come in. I'm glad that we did score that goal and it was bloody 2-2. I think eating celery would have been worse than wearing an Arsenal top.
No, yeah. Chuck, don't.
Yeah,
mate,
that's obvious.
I'd rather lick a hobo's foot than.
Nah, I had the worst. I had the worst on that one, mate. But yeah, just one more comment from AFC always. Anthony, can you imagine if Emery finished higher than Arteta in the league? Do you know what? That time will come. For how long Arteta is at Arsenal, that time will come. Good comment. Good comment. I reckon it will. I reckon it will come. And to be honest with you, that man should not have got sacked from Arsenal. That man shouldn't have got sacked from Arsenal. He was the one. Nobody realised he was the one. When he was the manager, you know, Emery, when he was the manager of PSG, he was the one that brought Neymar to PSG. And then when Arsenal signed him as manager, some people were like, well, who's you know, Emery? Some people never even heard of him.
But with Unai Emery, I think he thrives on the underdog story. I think he's someone who enjoys like the Villarreal, the Aston Villa, big club, big expectations. I think he struggles with a little bit. But in my opinion, Anthony, you're going to argue this very strongly. I think Emery is a better manager than Arteta anyway. Based
I'm
off
not going to argue. Not going to argue at all. I totally agree with it 100%. I was absolutely gutted when you look at the players that Arsenal had, that Unai Emery had. So we had Cole Jenkinson at right back.
Yeah.
You know, Holding in midfield. I'm sorry, in defence. You know, we did have a real poor side. All right, he was on the ball in Pepe, but you know it didn't work out for him. But he was the one that bought in Saliba, believe it or not.
Yeah.
And then obviously he stayed there on loan. So the deal was we bought him for something like 25 or 27 million, but the deal was if we bought him, he had to stay over there from to loan for the rest of the season. And that was that was what happened. and obviously Arteta come in, sent him out on loan, played last season phenomenal. I think that was what Saliba needed, was to go out on loan and then come back into the English game, refresh, in not mentally but physically as well. And the rest is history on that one. So I feel he's been really, really good on that one. Also, AFC, he's putting in a few comments here tonight, but we like it. Big up to you. Anthony, I think Aston Villa are the second highest scoring team in the Premier League. I think Newcastle are first. Correct me if I'm wrong. Do you know what, mate? I think you might be right there. I'm not going to correct you. I think you could. I think Aston Villa are the highest second. I mean, I don't know what the goal difference is in the league. I think that and whatever. I think you could be 100% correct there. And then Newcastle first, and then Villa being second. It definitely ain't Arsenal. In the top four, we got the. I think we got the same goals difference as top. I think we're on +10. Arsenal on top now. I think we're on +10. Our goal difference in the league. So, but yeah, and then he goes on to say, if Emery had 700 million to spend, we would have definitely win a major trophy. And yeah, we would have. We would have. No, without a shadow of a doubt, he would have won us the Premier League, and he would have most probably would have went on. And as far as the Champions League, maybe semi-final or a final. I believe that. I mean, he's proved it at Europa League level. Champions League, he hasn't proved it, but that's most probably one trophy that he would most probably love to win, and also the English Premier League. I think he would have wanted those two at Arsenal. When he first come in, his manager, I think he only had something like 85 million to spend, 90, and then it was second season. That was when we signed Pepe for 72 million. Do you know what? Hang on, you're seeing that. I quite like Pepe when he first came. All right, his goals. He was good. Do you know what? He had pace. He had skill. He didn't have many goals in him because that was when he first came over to the English Premier League. He did score a couple of goals, but apart from that, I think Arteta ballsed him up. Pepe, to be honest with you, but it is what it is. And who's he bloody gone to now? Galatasaray, is it?
Who? Pepe. Yeah, Pepe. I think he's out in the Turkish league.
Yeah, he's Galatasaray, and for a bargain, I think he ended up going for something like 3 million, 3.5. I mean, they got a bargain for that, and it won't surprise me if he leaves Galatasaray and he goes for like a reasonable price, like maybe around about 25, maybe 30 million, maybe. So that's it. So yeah, that's it now. We've come to the end of the show. I just want to say a quick thank you for everybody that's tuned in and watched today's show. And have a nice weekend. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday, what's left of it. Bill, do you want to give yourself a shout for people? I mean, obviously the shows you come on and do and obviously talk a load of crap about Chelsea, but
Yeah, I can do. I mean, look, you can go on my TikTok, Billy Talks Ball. You can also go on the United Agenda. I'm there every Friday at 10 p.m. So is Anthony as well. Or you can see me on a Sunday potentially on a more consistent basis as well. Yeah.
No, that's fine. Yeah, you can obviously with me. I'll just might as well say Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at my name, Anthony Herbert. Obviously, Football United TV is my home. I do present the show Gunners from All Corners and the Premier League Weekend Show. There is a Gunners from All Corners this week. That unfortunately there wasn't one last week. It was due for something that something happened. I could do the show, but yeah, we should hopefully have Gunners from All Corners this week. I'm not too sure tonight if there's a feature show. Maybe I'm not too sure. Don't quote me on that. If Marley is doing one, but And that's what it is. I'm just going to read this last comment out. It was discussing the way Emery was treated at Arsenal. Arteta done a lot worse, finishing 8th twice. Well, yeah, that's it, mate. Yeah, took over Unai Emery. We were 8th when Unai Emery was sacked. We finished 8th that season, won an FA Cup, and then the following season we finished 8th again, 5th, 2nd. So if we don't win the Premier League and we finish below 2nd, then unfortunately, I think Arteta should be gone, in my opinion. But that's me. But anyway, it's the end of the show, and we're out of here. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Don't forget, go to some more corners on Thursday. If there's any shows coming up, listen, like, subscribe, and also hit that notification bell. Hit it. And we'll see you again next time on the Football United TV.
Take care.